السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله واتقوا الله إن الله سميع عليم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا ترفعوا أصواتكم فوق صوت النبي ولا تجهروا له بالقول كجهر بعضكم لبعض أن تحبط أعمالكم وأنتم لا تشعرون. إن الذين يغضون أصواتهم عند رسول الله أولئك الذين امتحن الله قلوبهم للتقوى لهم مغفرة وأجر عظيم. إن الذين ينادونك من وراء الحجرات أكثرهم لا يعقلون. ولو أنهم صبروا حتى تخرج إليهم لكان خيرا لهم والله غفور رحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين. واعلموا أن فيكم رسول الله لو يطيعكم في كثير من الأمر لعنتم ولكن الله حبب إليكم الإيمان وزينه في قلوبكم وكره إليكم الكفر والفسوق والعصيان أولئك هم الراشدون. فضلا من الله ونعمة والله عليم حكيم صدق الله العظيم.
صدق الله العظيم. بارك الله فيكم وجزاك الله خير.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Inshallah, there is another nasheed I wish to deliver to you. Bismillah. طلع البدر علينا طلع البدر علينا طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع مرحبا يا خير داع. You want another one? Oh, that's enough. Okay, inshallah. Shukran. Muniru Kakembo. Gemanya gange Muniru Kakembo. Mwebale nnyo.
نعم بارك الله فيكم. tuyanza nnyo Muniru Kakembo. جزاك الله خير for that nasheed. Right now kyetugendamu inshallah ngenda kufunayooko abakyala omu babiri bareactinge ku lecture ya Dr. Abdul Hafiz bwe tumaliriza Dr. reactinge ku bigambo byemwogedde olw'ensonga nti akadde kamukutte bwe tunaamaliza inshallah tugende mu discussion esembayo egenda kubeera very interactive egenda kubeera ya pano wabula nga tugatta wakati wa pano era nga tugatta wamu ne audience nga tugatta wamu amaloboozi tubeere nga tujjayo ekintu kye tubadde twagala tubadde tubasaba abatudde emabega mukipayingeko seats ezisooka inshallah tubeere nga tukwatagana bulungi. Barakallahu fikum. Waliwo omukyala abadde awanise omukono eri emabega badde mbasaba you tell us your name what you do oba company yo you react inshallah to be as brief as possible.
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Mariam Bajenyi. I'm a media consultant and manager of innovations with Marketing Africa.
No.
So in reaction with what Dr. Hafiz has taught us, I totally agree with him. In regards with media consultancy, one of the challenges that we find when we try to sell the narrative of Islam to the community or to business holders out there, they don't usually understand the concept of Muslims within the Muslim fraternity. However, when you approach non-Muslim organizations and businesses, they are willing and they collaborate with us and they give us businesses to advertise for them and offer them media solutions. So my point goes to, I used to think as a Muslim woman that probably we have Islamophobia and people don't understand us as Muslims, but I got to realize that the challenge is within us, the Muslims.
We've not done enough.
Yeah, the Muslim entrepreneurs, I would say.
Okay.
Let me give you a short bit in festive period.
Lastly.
yes, in festive periods, when we are selling media solutions, we don't, these non-Muslims, they don't sell much. But actually, when it comes to Ramadan, everyone wants to jump on the boat.
Okay.
We even had MTN Iftar dinner that MTN willingly supported the whole of the occasion. But you could agree with me that in festive periods and Christmas, you're not going to find such events.
Okay.
So the challenge goes back to us as Muslims to embrace what we have and embrace unity and take on the dominance, because with what is happening currently in the market, everyone wants to offer and sell their products in the Muslim community, but we don't embrace it as Muslims.
Okay, barakallahu fikum. What I've understood that Muslims are supposed to reintroduce themselves to their inner selves, because we have it already in our religion, but you're not using it. Barakallahu fikum. We're having one writer. These are the people passing on culture. Madam Namuju Fatuma. Can you please react anything? Okay, fine. Allow me to ask Dr. Abdul Hafid kindly to react to the reactions we got before, and that reaction, inshallah, for us to give him a leeway, because he's having a very limited time. Barakallahu fikum.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you so much, the audience, for the reactions that you have made. Majorly, they are two. The first one was the relationship between the culture, is it, and the data?
And?
Data.
Yeah.
That was raised by our brother from the medical school.
Yeah.
And then the second from Mariam. It is more of raising the concern, the challenge, and actually how can we surmount that challenge. In relationship to the first question, Islam arrived at a time when there was a certain culture going on. And it actually did three major issues. Some of the cultures that were completely incompatible with Islam, Islam phased them away because of a simple reason: they were not even human. And you know, one of the distinguishing characteristics of the Islamic law is that it is human. It is practical, it is human. So those cultures, whether in trade, whether in social endeavors, they were phased out. Then there are those which I could say that they needed some kind of improvement and modifications. So Islam looked into them, did not phase them out completely, but modified them, removed some dust, some bad things, and then Islam promoted them. And then there are those cultures which actually Islam introduced. They were not known. So here we are now. It is almost the same scenario. When you are caught up in any situation, you need to refer the matter to the Ahlul Dhikr, the people who are reliable. And you ask them, I am caught up in such a situation. How can I synchronize between this and that? Where can I find the mid position? It's not about compromising on the teachings of Sharia. No. It is about having a lens, the Sharia lens. And at the end of the day, by the way, shall not have any problem to tell you, sorry, this is beyond repair. We rather set it aside. Then we are free also to tell you that when it comes to this, remove A, B, C, D, and then let's go on.
That means, given the modern world we are living in right now,
exactly,
Islam and as Sharia, it doesn't bow to modernity.
Yeah.
But modernity is supposed to listen to what the Sharia is saying.
Bring all issues of modernity and we subject them to Sharia.
Okay.
So that at the top, on top, it is Sharia ruling. We are not going to, as you have said, we are not bowing to modernity. Modernity should come to us and we Islamize it. If we cannot Islamize it, we shall throw it away. That's the position. So any
Barakallah, that's a strong
person
one.
in any field, that is how we are supposed to deal with it. Then the other issue that Sister Mariam has just raised, I think I see it in the spirit in what we are in now, establishing the Muslim bloc in such a way that we can listen to each other. We are not coordinating. Members of other faiths are coordinating at an extent that you cannot believe.
In your view, have we started it right now?
I believe that we are on the right track.
Alhamdulillah.
And inshallah we shall be there.
Takbir for that.
Amen.
We've
So
started.
what we need to consolidate here is that we have consultants, we have writers, we have publishers and so on. What mechanism can we develop as Muslims so that we can listen to each other? We can coordinate. I have a certain item I want to sell. Who is the potential buyer? Starting, by the way, amidst ourselves as Muslims. Because I believe that as a Muslim, I'll give the best offer to a fellow Muslim. So once we have that, I know that inshallah the challenge that is raised by Sister Mariam shall be no more, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah.
That's it that I have, and thank you so much.
Barakallahu feekum wa jazakumullahu khair. Let me say this in Luganda. It can't come out very well in English. How do we say that? I don't know. Now, that has been Dr. Abdul Hafid reacting. Now, that was Dr. Abdul Hafid reacting to the questions. But doctor, before we leave, doctor, now, can you take it back? Now, how important do you see the Muslim terminal as an app and a Muslim terminal with all its resources in solving the problem we've been talking about here? Given the fact that we have media, we have schools, we have food, we have whatever we've seen here on the screen. How important is it to solve this problem? Do you see any future in this project?
I hope that I'm not under interview, but I look at it as a compendium.
Yeah, it's an open dialogue.
Yeah, it is actually a collection. I want to look at it as a one-stop center, and where I could actually encourage more actors to join, so that we know that the moment we enter into this door, we can find ABCD, and therefore I'm convinced that inshallah with sincerity, honesty, and other Islamic values, we shall be there.
So you endorse it as an Islamic asset right now?
I do.
Barakallahu fikum.
May
That
Allah
was
accept
a very nice remark. Barakallahu fikum. Jazakallahu khair. That has been a remark from the doctor himself. He's endorsing Muslim terminal as a Muslim asset that is going to bring all of us together. Barakallahu fikum wa jazakallahu khair. Allow me, before I go any further, to recognize the presence of Mr. Emery from Turkey. Charlie, Mr. Emery, can you please say salam? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tanishti mizam mamnun oldum. Now, I speak some Turkish, but you can pardon me. Okay, now, Doctor, before we leave, I've seen Sheikh Abdurazak having the mic. He's one of our partners from Uganda Halal Bureau. Before the doctor leaves, can you talk about Muslim terminal? In one word or two, because you have to go in for the last session.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Just as the doctor has said, I believe and I think that this is what we always needed as Muslims in Uganda. And I think it's going to take us far, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Barakallahu fikum. The one representing Uganda Halal Bureau has said it's going to take us far, inshallah. I've seen the managing director, Hijaz Community Circle. Is he still around? La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Council is out, but Hijaz has been here with us. Would have got a comment from him. Barakallahu fikum. Right now, for more reactions to what you're talking about here and everything anyone would love to raise, we are going to have another panel of experts in different fields that are going to come right in front of us. Allow me to welcome our panel that is going to take us through the last session. Barakallahu fikum. Panel, please take the stage. Barakallahu fikum. Sheikh Ali Kachope, Sheikh Nasif Chizito, and Sister Ashaba Hajara, you can take on the stage. Barakallahu fikum. We are going to be having an open dialogue, an open discussion, but we're going to have a preamble for only 5 minutes for every single speaker. After that, we have an open discussion, summarizing whatever has been discussed here in this session. Barakallahu fikum. Now, this is a kind of its style. It's going to be a discussion like no other. We will really love to see you interacting with us and giving us your insights. Barakallahu fikum. We are going to talk about globalization and the information age as we say goodbye to Dr. Abdul Hafid Walusimbi. Hope Sheikh Abdul Razak is not leaving us. Yeah, doctor can't leave and you also leave. Barakallahu fikum. Now, Sheikh Nasif Chizito is here with us. Sheikh Ali Kachope is here with us. And Sister Hajara. This is going to be our last discussion, but it's going to be one like no other. We're having sheikhs here who are going to be reacting to the last things we talked about, and again what we're going to talk about here. Jazakumullahu khair. Allow me to take a seat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh once again. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Right in front of you is a panel of experts that are going to talk about the issue of globalization and the information age. The reason as why we chose this topic, it's because right now we are all moving on a journey of harassing technology. That's the reason as why Muslim Channel is here with us and Muslim Terminal is here with us. Right on my left, we're having the head of trade relations at the Oman Embassy, the diplomat himself, Sheikh Ali Kachope. And next to me, can you please say salam?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's a very diplomatic salam. Have you had it? MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. And next to me, we're having a lecturer, Engineer Nasif Chizito from Islamic University. Can you please say salam?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And on my right, we're having Sister Ashaba Hajara, and she's a lawyer by profession, but at the same time doing some journalism. Can you please say salam to us?
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now, our panel of experts is going to be balancing between the two languages, but you can excuse Sister Ashaba is going to speak on English, but our panel, inshallah, is going to speak both our mother tongue and English at the same time. And we are going to start with a preamble, an introduction for every single panelist. And then, after that, we are going to be having a discussion between the panel and the audience. Someone is going to raise their hands, their hand, you tell us your name, what you do, and direct to the point. But not more than 1 minute. We have strictly 30 minutes to go from this session. Now, let's have 5 minutes from, first of all, Sheikh Ali Kachope, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheikh Ali Kachope, the diplomat himself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه الغر الميامين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. The discussion is a little bit wide, but we have to make sure that we try our level best because these are clear studies. Partly I'm going to be discussing, in globalization, I'm going to be discussing diplomacy. That's a whole study. Trade is a whole study, culture is a whole study, Islam is a whole study. And globalization itself, it's a very huge study. As I told you before, this big man Yala always, atukasukire ebintu nga the thesis, the PhD, the masters, then you have to summarize them in just numbered minutes. Going straight to diplomacy. What is diplomacy? Diplomacy is the art and science of maintaining relationships between nations and nations, groups, and individuals. In that sense, kitegeeza nti conflicts zetulina mu nsi, it's either of the two. Either there is politics or there is economics. Wherever there is a conflict in the world, it's either of the two, whether it is politics or economics. So diplomacy comes in as a way of finding solutions on how we can okubeera nga tutereeza biki ebiba bisobye wakati awo, whether it is economics, whether it is politics nga erese ekizibu. Now, that is from perspective ey'ensi engeri gye tulabamu diplomacy. Because I'm a theologian, that's what I will say. And I'm known to be a theologian. And that's my profession. So, from the theological point of view, Sidam, where is diplomacy rooted? Diplomacy is rooted in Nyombo Sidam. Okuvira ddala ku Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Obusiraamu nga bwakajja, nabbi olw'ensonga nti waaliwo abamu nga bakabaka baali already balina ebifo bye bafuga ate nga babitiibwa. Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yabasindikira amabaluwa okubeera nga abayita mu busiraamu mu mbeera ey'ekitiibwa. Yabasindikiranga ababaka. Yabasindikiranga obubaka, ebifo ebimu yabisindikamu ababaka. Nga bw'olaba bwe yasindika Muadh bin Jabal, nga musindika e Yaman. Nga bw'olaba Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam we yasindika basahaba baali mu mbeera ya kubeera nga basenguka Makka, naye abantu gye yabasindika okubeera nga bafuna obubuddamu. Saawa zino kye twandiyisenga, how is it termed these days, abantu abavudde mu nsi nga bagenze mu nsi endala naye nga babadde balina ebizibu mu nsi ezo,
abayita abanoonyi b'obubuddamu.
The refugees, basahaba baliko ba refugees nga banoonya obubuddamu. It's part of diplomacy. Ne babeera nga bagenda ne bagenda Ethiopia, oba ekiseera ekyo bagiyitanga Abyssinia. Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam yakola alliances. Now I'm talking about diplomacy in line with Sharia or in line with Islam. Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam kimanyikiddwa yakola alliance ne groups nyingi nnyo ezitali z'abasiraamu mu mbeera eyo mu bintu ebikwatagana ne security nga bwe yakwatagana ne Banu Khuzaa. Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam yalongoosa wakati w'abantu oba ebika ebyali bisobaganye ne Allahu tabaraka wa ta'ala ebimu kubitulaga nti diplomacy promoting peace. Allah kugamba mu surat al-Hujurat nagamba wa in ta'ifatani min al-mu'minina iqtatalu fa aslihu bainahuma. Singa groups bbiri ez'abasiraamu oba ebinja biri by'abasiraamu birwanagana mubeere nga mulongoosa wakati waabwe. So n'olwekyo okubeera nga diplomacy ekwegamba diplomacy teyakatandika kakati. The alliances zetulaba mu nsi tezakatandika saawa zino. Tuyina East African Community, that's alliance eyaffe ab'omu East Africa. We are promoting trade and how we can resolve our political differences. Bw'otunuulira NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, eyakolebwa wakati wa America ne Canada and other 10 countries oluvannyuma lwa Second World War, kwali kubeera nga bagezaako okuteminga the Russian aggression, ne babeera nga bakola alliance yaabwe okubeera nga bo bennyini kwegamba okubeera nga beeyamba nga bo in terms of security, in terms of politics, and also mainly it was politics and politics and security. That is NATO. Then ogenda kulaba waliwo alliances nyingi, waliwo ECOWAS eya West Africa, there is GCC, the Gulf Cooperation countries ey'ekyondo ky'Abawarabu. All those alliances zikolebwa okubeera nga buli omu protectinga interests ze oba interests zaabwe. Ne in line with Islam diplomacy tuyina engeri gye tugirabamu, inshallah nja kuba nkyogerako awo mu maaso.
Sheikh Ali,
Naam.
you're talking about diplomacy, but before you send the mic to the next person, why should a Muslim sitting here, someone owning a business, why should they care about diplomacy?
Okay. Diplomacy is a little
And what
bit...
are your expectations as someone working in diplomacy from a person sitting here as a businessman or a Ugandan?
Diplomacy, nga bwe mbagambye ndeese ekigambo ekiri general, it's the generic term of it. But there is economic diplomacy or commercial diplomacy, there is political diplomacy, or we can call it public diplomacy. But in this sense, we are discussing commercial diplomacy.
Why should we be concerned about commercial diplomacy? What does it have to do with us?
Yeah. Kakati, the importance of commercial diplomacy is to promote trade between the countries.
Okay.
Omusiraamu ali wano ekikuleese kubeera nga otegeera the perspective of Islam on trade and culture. Kakati commercial diplomacy promoting a trade. Okutegeera nti mu United Arab Emirates waliyo ki? Mu Omani waliyo ki? China waliyo ki? So that you have information about those countries and what you can get from there and what we can kyetusobola okubeera nga naffe tubawa in return, because trade ebeerawo wakati wa demand ne supply. That's part of economics.
Can I just switch to Sister Hajara to give us a perspective just on that before you give your preamble? Give us a perspective on that from a research perspective. Can you? Yes, Sister.
Thank you. You know, when you descend to diplomacy and the trade bit of it. For what it's worth, I was warned not to talk about politics today. Yeah, but the world has become, we've had this term very many times. We are now a global village. And I don't know what everyone thinks about it, but then it comes down as a responsibility to you as an African, as a Ugandan, but most importantly as a Muslim, that whether there is or there isn't diplomacy in the trade aspect, it comes down to the kind of contribution that we are making towards it.
Okay.
Yeah, the country is going to do what it does.
Every single person is having a role to play.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barakallahu fikum. Now let's get a preamble from Sheikh Nasif Chizito, globalization in relation to technology and its effects, in just 5 minutes.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We are grateful to the Almighty for this opportune moment. In the same venue, a host of activities are taking place, but we are in a special category whereby we are discussing the deen of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala in relation to our values and how we should aid one another going forward, benchmarking on an Islamic guidance, but also in comparison with the current trends. I thank the organizers to begin with, Muslim Channel, and with their new projects, including the Muslim Tamino app, and Brother Ya'ala, Sheikh Ya'ala. In context to this, our dear audience, I was predominantly informed that it is occupied so much with people in the business line.
Yeah.
Globalization. Globalization involves interdependence of world economies. Interdependence of world economies. Trying to create one state out of a host of states. And this one is very, very important when we directly connect it with technology. I can reliably stand firm. My brother, Mr. Kasaga, out there is also a lecturer and a proficient person in IT. That I do not want to make it academic purely. I'll go at one point and I relate it with the Islamic version of aspects for us to benefit clearly so that you differentiate between a lecture in Makerere University and a session organized by Muslim Channel. And that I think is very important in this age. Now, globalization is something that comes with a host of advantages and disadvantages. I will only cite 2 advantages for the sake of these minutes, inshallah. One of them, it provides access to labor capital and resources. For example, when we are talking about one village connecting a host of countries, we shall see that it is possible to design a car in Japan and then get auto parts from Germany and assemble the same car in Malaysia. And that is how different countries are coming up to come up with one uniform product that is going to benefit one and all. When we try to relate it with the Islamic perspective, it came in the line of ideas that were foreign but important to the religion of Islam. Out of globalization, gathering ideas to be beneficial to society and provide relevant solutions, Salman al-Farisi was a person of foreign descent from Persia. But when it was at the battlefield, when we needed a tactic that was not of Saudi Arabian origin, the Prophet sallallahu...
Saudi Arabian?
Yes.
During that time?
The Prophet sallallahu...
Can we say Hijazi origin?
Maybe we can call it
Saudi
Hijazi.
Arabia was there in 1931.
Definitely, but yeah. Hijaz, the broader region, right?
Yeah.
Salman al-Faris.
But it's modern day Saudi Arabia, anyways.
Sure. Salman al-Faris coming in with a foreign concept on how we should organize the lines and what other tactics we would do, maybe in presenting with the ditch as we were facing the enemies.
In Ghazwatul Ahzab.
Yes, in Ghazwatul Ahzab. Yeah. It was a very, very intense battle, but we benchmarked on the knowledge of an external entity within another country and this formed a uniform purpose for the Muslims to overcome their enemies, and rightfully so it's a very key concept. Finally,
Yeah.
in some of the key things we have to watch out in the age of globalization is the acceptance of every type of culture to infiltrate within the original concept of Islam,
Okay.
whereby the information age has given everyone leeway to present themselves without relevance or without being looked into. They can give fatwa, especially in Islam. Someone will say, I'm from Pakistani, but I can give a ruling on kneeling in Uganda. And some people will have new Muslim radical movements that are attached to a creed that is even sometimes foreign and not applicable in the context of a particular country or area.
By the way, with TikTok, everyone is becoming a celebrity in some sense.
Yes.
Everyone is a celebrity and they share perspective.
So, in relation to the information age, globalization has affected us in inabilities for a new Muslim or a Muslim to profoundly sieve out which scholar they would read or follow, because everyone is providing information. There isn't a sieve in globalization, save for people who have done it maturely. I like the comment that Dr. Abdul Hafid made, that the time is now, and we shall not set back unless we have to take part.
That means
Thank
we
you
should
very
provide a
much.
solution.
Definitely, solution.
As a matter
are the
of
way to
fact.
go.
Barakallahu fikum. Lastly, we are going to have a preamble from Sister Hajara, and then we come to the audience. I think many people are having a lot of insights. We're having sheikhs in the house. We're having people having exposure in different parts of the world in the house. Let's hear from Sister Hajara, and then we come for your insights from the audience. Barakallahu fikum.
Thank you. I'm going to discuss globalization as an African. Yeah, I'm not giving a religious or a scholarly perspective. And I want to state in full discretion that I have no right to discuss what I'm about to do. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So a little bit about myself. I have one goat, and I have 2 cows, and I have a few pieces of land. Yeah, so definitely that, in Imam Kasozi's words, disqualifies me from being a business person, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was researching...
Nowadays, they can even call it CEO. We have a lot of CEOs. A lot of them. They just post on Twitter, CEO, self-made.
What you discover when you go to law school, you realize that those that are doing a degree in law find a lot of offense when people that have a diploma in law call themselves lawyers. Yes, I think we need to qualify titles for what they are. So when I was researching this topic, I came across something. It's a quote in the article I was reading, and someone wrote that the rising levels of income elsewhere in the world have sparked the prices of commodities in Africa. Now, I was deeply hurt by that. It means that someone out there is doing something, and the ripple effect, we are getting to earn from the ripple effect of the activities of what people in other continents are doing. So that pushed me to knowing what the volume of our imports and exports is and how much we are producing, So we bring in imports worth 249 billion, but we put out imports worth 240 billion. I'm speaking in dollars, So we are importing much more than we're exporting.
Are you talking about it from a Ugandan perspective?
I'm talking about it from an African perspective.
Okay.
Because we are not just Ugandans here, from my understanding. We saw a Kenyan doctor earlier. So we have intra-trading, inside the African continent. The level at which we are trading with each other as Africans is under 20%. So that means that someone is occupying 80% of opportunities, and it's not an African. I have a brother in Qatar, and I've been having conversations with him, and he's telling me people that are there and don't have jobs, this is not the best, but we can get them here. But he wants to be a broker, a middleman. And you have had several of us call it slavery, what is happening to our sisters and brothers that go out there. But still, even there is a lot of money.
Yeah, that's something open to discussion, and inshallah we are going
Yeah.
to discuss that here.
Exactly. You see,
Yeah.
what I think what we may not realize is that there is globalization that came with one colonialism, and that's not there at the moment. So now we discuss the economics, the labor force. Where is it going? Because the volume of capital and labor is what makes globalization globalization. Yeah. So if someone wanted to use 3 words to describe globalization, it may be a global economic integration. You've heard of President Museveni talking about East African integration over and over again. So as an African, I expect to produce 2 tons of coffee this year. I'm talking raw coffee. Yeah, that will be around 1.25 tons of dry coffee. So it means that I am not making a contribution to the exports of coffee that Africa, it may be there, but it's extremely minute. So I would want our take home from this conversation today. I understand that most of us are trading already, but how do we get better? We need a moral stand. We need a moral capacity to say that as a continent, as a religion, as a people, as a color, we can discuss globalization not based on the publications and not based on the imports and exports that the rest of the world is making, but what is our actual contribution to globalization in the world. We didn't start it. Yeah,
As
we
you conclude?
definitely did start it. The negative effects fall on us because that's what happens in economies. The elephants, definitely will step on the lizards. But we are here today. We are here now. What can we do?
What should we offer to the world? That's a very important question. On that note, I'm going to come to the audience. First of all, allow me, can I first of all talk to Brother Emery in relation to globalization? I'm going to ask Brother Emery a question, that what is the expectation of people that come here in Uganda, people that look like you, what do they expect from us as Ugandans? Working with us as businessmen, people coming here as brothers and sisters in Islam, what are their expectations? What do they really want from us?
Of course, every people come with different intentions, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not so much familiar with the business side. I am in the charity side.
Yeah.
But as I observe, I think they are looking for quality product with good prices and clean businesses, so they can continue their business and transactions. So, but for charity-wise, I think try to find a vulnerable community to reach out to charity projects. So I mean, mostly I think everybody looks to main things, maybe clear business. So when you agree on something, you fulfill the agreement. So when you do so, I think they keep on coming. I'll just tell you one story about Indonesia. The Yemenis, Muslim traders went to Indonesia when Indonesia was not Muslim. And these traders, these businessmen, they start to do trading.
Yeah.
But they hide themselves. They never say we are Muslims.
Okay.
They never cheat in their transactions. They were purely honest. So,
I'm really sorry for interruption, but can you really tell us a perspective from an ethical perspective, that business ethics, what do these people expect from us as Ugandans? What are they looking for? Yeah, from an Islamic perspective and generally speaking.
okay, I will connect with this.
Yeah, just a tip.
I will connect with this story.
Yeah.
So the Muslim traders, Yemenis, when they go to Indonesia, they did very clean business, very honest, no cheating, no deceiving. But they never said that they are Muslims.
Yeah.
And the local people, indigenous people of Indonesians, they wonder when they do transaction, why they are not cheating, why not deceiving. If you give them excess money, they are returning back. So without telling them, without reminding them.
In simple terms, they look at honesty.
Yeah, this honesty. Yes,
Okay.
this is one of these honesty. No cheating, no deceiving. So they try to understand why these people totally honest, why they are not doing any bad transaction. So they understood later on they are Muslims. They are doing it because of their faith. They are totally honest, no lying, no cheating, no deceiving. And Indonesia become Muslim because of these honest traders. So I think this is a universal or Islamic ethics. So I mean, in our transaction, we need to be honest. If the goods maybe not good, we should tell this part is not good, not hiding the defects of the product when we are selling it.
Lastly, what shouldn't we miss as people living in Uganda? Maybe based on a certain hadith or any ethic, you know, what are the things we shouldn't miss as Ugandans in relation to the people that are coming from overseas?
I think we cannot categorize as a country because Islam is universal. So, but let me read one part from the Islamic collection. It says here, "Town are also household for their inhabitants, if belief in hereafter, next life."
Yeah, they're living in the akhirah.
Yeah, belief in akhirah does not govern among the members of that large family. Vices like a malice, self-interest, selfishness, hypocrisy, bribery, deception, cheating will dominate over a good character. I think if you see this kind of bad characteristic in one society, we should think maybe there might be some missing understanding or not application of the belief in akhirah in their life.
Okay. Barakallahu fikum. Thank you so much for that insight, Brother Emery. Allow me, first of all, go back to Sheikh Abdul Razak from Uganda Halal Bureau before we come back to our panel of experts. Sheikh Abdul Razak, what do you think about the topic and generally speaking, the globalization from Uganda Halal Bureau perspective? We're having a lot of products coming from overseas. We get products from China. We get this and that. What do you think about it? And what should we do as Ugandan? In just a minute.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
As he said, I'm called Abdul Razak. I am here to represent Uganda Halal Bureau. It is a halal certification body. We certify products according to halal integrity. About this topic, in regard with halal, it is very important for Muslims to know what they're supposed to do. In the line of halal, Muslims, we do not consume anything. We are specific in what we eat. We are specific in what we consume. So it is very, very important for a consumer to know what's the status of something you want to buy or something you want to consume. You should always know the status, the halal status of that thing. It is
in
very
simple
important.
terms, a very direct question, that what have you done locally here in Uganda? Are we supposed to look out for anything like your logo? What should we look out for if someone is looking for a halal?
Yes, of course, because halal has gone far. It is more than what we, because of the globalization, the modern world, things have changed. We known haram in things like not consuming pork or alcohol, but you can find pork DNA in something else that is halal. So our job as Uganda Halal Bureau, we have scientists, we have food scientists, we have Sharia experts. So we do audits, we look into those things, and we certify a product in regard with halal. So if you want halal, look for a halal logo, inshallah.
Very sorry. Last question, just one last question. You've talked about a very important point of Uganda Halal Bureau. What importance would you see in the Muslim Terminal app in line with your work and raising awareness about halal, given the fact that you've told us that right now pork is not just meat, it can be as sophisticated as you've explained it, and Muslims identifying those products? How can the Muslim Terminal app and Muslim Channel and all other Muslims help? Just briefly.
Thank you so much.
Muslim Terminal.
On that issue, as Halal Bureau and so many other Islamic organizations, we do a lot and we do the job, but sometimes we lack communication. So the Muslims sometimes do not know where and who does something. So the Muslim Terminal is going to help us a lot to propagate the message. Whoever is asking about halal or anything that is Islamic, you can just step into the terminal and you get what you want as easy as possible.
I'm looking forward to Muslim Terminal to help Muslims identify those products
Definitely
halal
it's-
products
yes,
with us, because this is something combining us.
There must be a halal something or window, inshallah.
Inshallah. We have food and drink.
Inshallah,
Barakallahu fikum. Now, allow me go back to our experts, and then I come back a little bit because we are running out of time. Someone has talked about Luganda or Lueka. Okay. Sheikh Nasif Chizito, you've talked about ethics. Even Sheikh has talked about something that has to do with ethics. If I may start with Sheikh Ali Kachope. If an Arab or an Indian or an investor comes here, what are they looking for from an ethical perspective? And what does someone expect from a Ugandan traveling to Dubai to go to do any work they're going to do there? What do they expect from us? Can you please just tell us about that in just a few?
As Brother Yale is taking us speed.
We are running out of time.
But before going to that, I want you to know what, back to diplomacy, sorry, I'm going to answer that. Something
Can you please
small.
be specific, because we are running out of time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to, there is something which I want to highlight. I want people to know what influences foreign policy. They are some countries' interests that influences for foreign policy. That there are some bigger countries, bigger economies, who will impose their interests on a certain community or a certain country, because who will impose their values, them they call values, because of the mate they have economically or politically. So these interests are the ones which influence their foreign policy.
Okay.
For example, they're going to impose something here because you're a small country. If you're a small country, if they impose something on you and you refuse, they will tell you, you know what? We're going to remove the aid from you. It depends on the interests. So
Now, can you please answer my question?
ekyo kitumanya kibagamba lwakuba nti ekintu kye twogerako kintu kigazi ate tulina okumakinga sure that tukifunza nga bwe kisoboka. However, from the Islamic perspective, we are distinct from just interests. When it comes to diplomacy in Islam, it's more of spiritual and divine. Okitegeera, not just interests and being politically powerful. Tulina promoting justice, tulina promoting harmony, tulina promoting the relationship based on
Honesty.
Islamic principles. Back to what you are saying, it is very simple.
Just a few
Omuntu
seconds.
azze wano nga azze kubeera nga kuba mwatugambe twogere Oluganda.
Yeah, no problem. Don't worry with you.
Omuntu avudde Dubai, avudde Emirates, avudde US, wherever he has come from, a foreigner, bw'aba azze wano mu Uganda, ekintu kyatu expectinga mu kubeera nga tusuubuligana naye, anoonya honesty. Abantu bano b'amazima. Abantu bano si balimba, si bakumpanya. The first impression you give him, that's how you start the business.
Okay.
The impression gy'omuwa nga mwakatandika ye mugoba oba ye musigaza. And this is very, very important.
Barakallahu fikum. Sheikh Nasif Chizito, can you please react briefly on that?
Ethics expected of the Ugandans in the face of foreigners who conduct business with us. Empisa ezitusuubirwamu. Suratu Nahal, Allah w'ekitiibwa ategeeza nti wa awful kaila idha kiltum, paka nga aya bweggwayo. Okujjuza ebipimo. Abantu bamanye okuba nti wapimira omuzungu amuseera ate omufirika nassa wansi mu same country, mu same economy, mu same price rates, mu mbeera ez'enjawulo.
By the way, on a very serious note, let me talk about this. We've had Somali brothers. Nekino kanjogere mu Luganda. Abantu nze nabeerako mu butale eyo wansi mu downtown. Naye ng'Omusomali bw'ajja oba omuntu yenna Muwarabu oba ki. Balina kale ekigambo kye bakozesa sagala kukiisaawo. Wabula first of all bagamba obutebugula. Obukola bwe buti. Oluusi ne babagenda mu Luganda nga ne bebageya bamanyi oluki Oluganda. N'osanga oluusi Omusiraamu ng'ajerega Omusomaali oba Omuwarabu oba ki mu njerega eraga bwe bali portrayed mu media ne mu movies mwenna mukimanyi wabula gwe musiraamu munne ate n'okimuteekako ng'omulaba ayambadde jilbab omulaba alina ekifaananyi kya busiraamu wallahi n'obako ekigambo ky'omwogerako sifaayo oba okyogedde maaso g'abasiraamu abatali basiraamu ffenna basigala batwalira mu umbrella etya mu umbrella emu ekyo kye mbadde njala nkyogereko
ebigambo ebyo bikulu nnyo. Right categorization of products and services in relation to their quality and services, matching them with the right price. Bannange w'obanga oyina akatale ka crafts bw'olaba omuzungu mwawulire nti eno ya mutwalo eri yakakaaga olw'ensonga eno bweti olw'okuba nti naye ayinza obutakyawula kuba gwe mulundi gwe ogusooka okulaba eŋŋoma gye baleeze neki n'eddiba ayinza obutaawula. Kati awo abafirika oluusi tumanyi okuyisaawo bannaffe naye batusuubiramu amazima batusuubiramu obwenkanya ekisemberayo ddala ng'abasiraamu tusuubirwa okudiiringa mu halaali clearly ne we tubanga tuguza bazungu tetugamba nti we tuguza omuntu atali musiraamu tukkirizibwa omuguza haraamu ekyo nno abantu bakiina ng'aba musiraamu naye ng'alina halaali ne haramu products era ng'akutegeeza ndi musomesa owa managerial economics mu phases of productivity ensonga ezo tuzirina naye omusiraamu atunda halaali ne haramu ng'abasiraamu we bajja babagamba ono halaali gwe nkuguza abatali basiraamu naye ng'alinawo doketi yaabwe eya haramu mu byokunywa oba mwenge restaurant nsiraamu naye nga mu firiji emabega somewhere waliwo ekitakkirizibwa tuli ffenna.
But you check, I sell to Italians.
I sell to Italians. Whatever the context you might express, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ Allah amanyi ki kyokola. But regardless of color, race, country, halal is halal, haram is haram.
Naam.
Twegendereze mu busuubuzi.
Barakallahu fikum. Sister Hajar, on the same point, what do those people expect from us as they come here and as we go to their countries? Maybe I want business, I want to strike a deal. What do they expect from us?
I think we can discuss it the whole weekend, but we can't stress the role that is played by honesty enough. Yeah, reliability. Fact that you have told someone that this is going to be done for 500,000 and they pay that, and that's what it's for. Yeah. Then number two, one of the things that have made globalization a possibility in this day and era is communication. And communication is such a broad aspect that includes how much information we have. Yeah, so is the age of the internet. There is a lot of information out there. I'm going to, give an example of Boko Haram. Yeah, and what they
very
push,
controversial example.
Yeah, what they push is that Western civilization is forbidden. Yeah, so whereas there are aspects of Western civilization that clash with Islam, and like the Ugandan constitution where the secular and the Islamic clash, then the Islamic part, takes precedence. We cannot ignore everything. We cannot ignore the role that information can play in trade and culture and, in a general perspective, globalization.
Yeah, but by the way, we see that from an Islamic perspective. The Prophet ﷺ sending diplomats, as he was sending Ma'ad to Yemen, he gave him information about the people he's going to meet. And the Quran itself tells us about trading, that Muslims are supposed to be well-read people. Now, from a religious perspective, the religion gets us covered.
Exactly.
Now, okay. Sure.
Yeah, so you're going to realize that if you're a very small-time trader like me, you need information. Yeah, if I come from Ruhama and Ntungamo, if you're going to go to Ntungamo and have a business there, you need to know what the people there do, what do they consume, how do they operate like, what do they like. Yeah, we normally hear that whites are strict with time, and people from Asia and the Middle East are very honest people. Yeah, so that's the kind of, we need such information to be able to deal and compete on a global level.
And we need, by the way, even other people talking about us, that people from Uganda are such and such people.
Exactly.
Using a very
exactly. So let us not underestimate the role that communication having information on us. Please exploit the internet, use it for your own betterment, and how much information we can have in our possession.
Okay, barakallahu fikum. Members of audience in the audience, can we please have some reactions? You can raise up your hand. Can I start with the brother, and then the brother, and then him, inshallah? Do you have any from the ladies? Okay, one. Okay, let me start with the brother, and then you give the brother. Just very briefly.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
My name is Tiza Aziz. I'm a teacher by profession. I work with Man Foundation. I'm also working with Movende local government. Without wasting time, I would like to request the moderator, Brother Yala Musa. Just in law, I have a friend of mine who is a lawyer, that whenever they're in court, they have what we call an external assessor.
Okay.
So could you please allow me just comment on the Muslim terminal?
Okay.
I came to learn about this Muslim channel. It was some 2 years back. We always had, when I was still in Makerere, Risal Nur reading with Brother Emery Olge. That time we invited Brother Fahad. That's when I came to know about it. So that one drives me on this point, that is it not inadequate that the channel has done to make sure, to create awareness. Like for example, when you look at...
Lastly, because we are really
okay, in a GIF, when you look at the discussions, the time which is given or which is appropriated to the discussion is very limited. So I would like to request that if you can get more time, inshallah, whenever there is such discussion. Then finally, I was so unfortunate that I wanted to react on Hajj Yassini's Bakaruba's what? Communication. But I would like to quote what Dr. Hafiz said. The question was, what accountability shall we make in front of Allah when everything is at disposal?
Barakallahu fikum. That means whatever we do, we're supposed to know that Allah is watching. Can you please give the mic to the man next to you?
Finally.
Behind you, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Very briefly.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Ahmed is my name. I'm a corporate salesperson with Exim Bank. And I'm in a business background. Basically, what brought me here most was because it was trade and culture. But however, culture has taken 90% and trade...
Can you please have your name again?
Ahmed Mubiru.
Okay.
But culture has taken...
Working with?
Exim Bank.
Okay.
A cooperator. I'm in corporate sales. Culture has taken 90% of the debate, basically, and trade has taken like 3%.
Okay, that's your analysis?
Analysis, and an innovation to be successful, it has to be commercialized. We have to get the opportunities to the investors, the opportunities to the business community. Like Sister Shaba said, we import more than we export. What are the opportunities we can provide as the channel so that we cover that gap? You know, with the business world, the opportunities you present to them, they can buy in. How can the channel grow vast? Because I've only seen the app, you're not on website. And the corporate people always move with their laptops. There is tap and do the else. That's my submission.
Barakallahu feekum wa jazakallahu khair. Our website is up and it's coming. And we are also prioritizing on our viewership from you, our audience. And we expect every single person to be downloading this app. You're going to be telling us all your comments and everything what you think about the Muslim terminal and Muslim channel itself. Can I have a reaction from the sister? Oh, he was the first. He was the first to come. Let me have a reaction from him. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Who else would love to react? 5. Okay, time is beating down the clock. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Once again, my name is Mtebe Alawi. I work with Ecolink Technologies Group. I'm the founder and CEO. My reaction would be direct to what has been discussed, but part of it has been left out. You talked about technology in your theme, but it has not been talked about in any way. But what I would like to bring out to the audience is that Africa is the next, actually it is the target by the foreign countries in terms of technology and in terms of making a lot of money from Africa. That is one. Two, with technology, technology has got to be important by solving a certain problem. Without technology solving a problem, then it's nothing. The apps, the what and what and what are nothing. Actually, those apps, these are things that can be even constructed in one day, and you have an app. But so long as it has no problem, it is solving, it does not. So my... Do
you think that Muslim Terminal, in your view, is solving some problem?
That was what was next in my... now, with Muslim Terminal, I have just got to know it today. But what I would recommend is that please, beyond the technology of the app.
By the way, just a question. Are you a developer or an observer? Because from the information I have, there is no app that can be done in one day. Can something be developed in one day?
It can be done in one day. I have done them. We have done them in one day. So I don't want to go deep into that.
What kind of platform? Do you use any software or anything? Because I'm really curious about something that can be done in one day. Someone would love to know that.
Just visit us and we discuss with you. But in one day,
we're having a lot of developers in the house here.
No worries, no worries. It depends. It can be made in... We made... should I mention? The app made in one day.
Yeah, mention, no problem.
We made the House of Zakah app.
In one day?
Live in one day, yeah.
La ilaha
but
illallah,
that is it. It wasn't complete, but it is live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to bring out, is that the team of Muslim Channel, we need you to sit down, realize a practical business model, realize a go-to-market strategy. I can see there is huge investment here, the cameras and what and what and what. Sometimes it is very dangerous for something that is a startup to boom up with a kind of capital and equipments at once. It is dangerous, but what I would commend is that you need to sit down and realize a real business model, realize the real problems, because what I see from the app, these are just generic categories. We need to realize where the real problems are and the real market fit of these problems,
Inshallah.
and then we can move on.
I feel like we should appreciate the beginning, but I'm going to assure you, I'm not a technology person, I'm just a guy. But if you want to be parts of the future, be parts of Muslim Terminal, I'm telling you. Be parts of the future, because something is coming out, and that's the reason as why the CEO himself is here, to give us those insights. Barakallahu fikum. We are going to be listening to such people for their constructive criticisms, given the fact that he's working in technology. All your comments and all your constructive criticisms are very, very welcome for us to build the next future of Muslims. Barakallahu fikum. Let's go to the lady there. There is a gentleman? Okay. There is a gentleman. Who is having the mic? Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Zingana kuisa Buganda banna. Alhamdulillah. Kati. Amanya nze Imam Ali Ibrahim. Kuva ku Ekibuli ku Masjid Rahman. Nze ogwange nala kwebaza omukutu guno gwa Muslim Channel ne Muslim Terminal kulo mulimu omulungi guno gwe baguddewo olunaku lwaleero. Nankakasa nti nno billahi ta'ala tujja tuuka awasingakaawo.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's get an insight from the brother and then the sister. We'll close, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
For purposes of record, I'm Miga Ismail, and I'm the Chief Legal Officer of Signals from the Grassroots and also the CEO of Fraser Foundation Uganda. But for me, I will not go into that definition because I believe all has been expounded. But I'd like to draw your attention to the aspects of commercial diplomacy in Islam, which are mutual respect, fairness, and transparency. When you look into the world we are in today, these aspects are not seen in our Muslim community. For example, we have a well-known journalist here.
Can you generalize? Can you generalize that they are not seen?
I'm not generalizing, but at a certain extent, they are not seen. We have a renowned journalist in us here, Sheikh Asif Sechiunga. But whenever he's reading bulletins on TV stations, you see Ismail has done this, Ismail has cheated so and so. I believe our sheikhs haven't done well to say that this diplomacy thing in Islam comes up properly.
Do you think in your view that it's only the responsibility of the sheikhs?
Let me
or every single person is having a role to play?
Let me finish up. I believe every person has a role to play, but you should have a wider audience. For example, you go to pulpits, let's redefine our preachings. We all know that the Prophet went to heaven. Do not preach that Prophet went to heaven, so and so. Let's try to put up these aspects of commercial diplomacy in Islam into our people. I believe if that is done, we'll be sowing a seed which will give us fruits which we'll enjoy and our children here and later.
Okay.
Thank you very
Barakallahu
much.
fikum. Let's have a comment from the sister and then we... a very short one. Very short one. Now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Once
Wa
again,
alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
this is Nadia Nanteza Malka, and I work with Hijaz Finance, an Islamic financial institution in Uganda. I wanted to say something very simple, not a very common term, fargin. Fargin is a Yiddish word meaning wholeheartedly celebrating the success of others. We are facing a challenge. Muslims, when you make a mistake, they're going to kick you down. But according to the definition of this word, which I think if only we could embrace, it's when a Muslim is selling something or is creating anything or is doing anything to see that the world becomes a better place and they make a mistake, we should criticize them, yes, positively, and then help them stand.
Okay.
Help
because of the
them
brotherhood we're
stand.
having.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
a
all.
very
I
important
wish we
note.
could do that.
Barakallahu fikum. And on that very important note, I'm going to be back to the panelists to give us their conclusion on the topic we've been discussing and whatever has been discussed for us, inshallah, to close this session because time is really beating down the clock. Can I please start with Sheikh Ali Kachope in just a few seconds? Now.
With my conclusion, it was specifically on diplomacy. I didn't want to, bastardize myself with a lot of things. As I told you that when it comes to diplomacy, as we Muslims, it is distinct just from self-interest and politics. It's more of humanity, it's more of peace, it's more of promoting good trade relations when it comes to commercial diplomacy from the Islamic perspective. Waliwo ekintu kye nabadde njogera lwakuba nti I was nga mmaliriza mu ddakiika n'obutawera nabadde njogera how countries, big economies, they influence or their interests influence their foreign policy. Nti bw'aba nga bayina kye baagala okubeera nga bayisaawo batunulira these small economies ne baleeta ensonga zaabwe ne babeera nga baziba imposingako olw'ensonga tolina bwekyusizo. Buli bw'olemu okwekyusa, either of the two, bwewekyusa bagenda kubeera nga bakujja ku bye babadde bakuwa. They've been supporting your budget, they've been, helping you with a lot of aid. Bagenda kubeera nga bazikola ki? Ebyo bagenda kubeera nga babijjawo olw'ensonga baagala kuimposinga certain beliefs on you. Kakati from the Islamic perspective, obusibwe obusiraamu tusobola okusteppinga in bwabeerawo any problem, or whether it is a conflict, nenga we are just in our dealings with the situation. So n'olwekyo baganda bange, ensi zaffe tulina okukola ennyo bwe tuba tetwagala kubeera nga batutuula ku mutwe.
Barakallahu fikum. Tulina okukola ennyo bwe tuba nga tetwagala batutuuleko. Bwe kiba nti okufuna ssente, ofuna obwogerero n'amaanyi, ate nga ffe abali ku mazima, kitegeeza al-haq n'obwogerero, tuba tugenda kufuna ensi ekyasinza okubeera ennungi. Second Nasif Kizito nga tumaliza, in the interest of time.
Nga tumaliriza, abasiraamu mu kusoma kwe musomye n'obuyivu bwe musomye bwe mufunye, try to be indispensable. Between 2001 to 2018, 3.7 million jobs were lost between the dealings between US and China due to advancement in technology and replacement of abilities and people. So abali mu kuyiga, abayizi, abaana b'obusiraamu temuzannyira mu kusoma, bw'obaayo obukugu bw'ofunye, beera outstanding, osobole okuba nti we bajjawo 10 gwasigalawo. Ekyo kye kisooka. Ekisemberayo ddala, technology ne globalization bitu exposing ebintu bingi ebikkirizibwa n'ebitakkirizibwa. Tube n'ensa, tube n'okusengejja, tube n'emmizi eyerekeramu ku ebyo ebikkirizibwa n'ebyerekereza ebyo ebitakkirizibwa. Omusiraamu takola buli challenge gye bakola ku TikTok. Omusiraamu tatunda buli kitundibwa. Therefore, ekyo kijja tuwa discipline. And finally, to my brothers, even amidst the storm of money making, it is important that we remain stuck on the key Islamic principles and values. This will enable us progress fi dunya wal akhirah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's a very important note, a strong one. Sister Hajara, in conclusion, just a few seconds.
Thank you. I'm going to start with a reaction to what the two brothers said. One said that Africa is going to be the next hub of technology, and he's in technology. And so what I have to tell him and people like him is that people bring technology here. It's not unprecedented. It's not the first time it's happening. We are a market. Yeah, so how about we take the technology somewhere? It doesn't have to be technology, it could be something else. But how about we have something to offer on a personal basis, and eventually it puts Islam up, it puts the country up. Yeah, so us being a market, it's not new, that's what we basically are. Number two, Council talked about, I think he was gearing towards having commercialization incorporated into sermons. Yeah, how about in our religious spaces, we discuss money, we discuss finance, because how we spend our time determines how we think. So if he was speaking in line with that, I hear him, and I think I agree with him that how about we teach the spiritual, but again, we discuss the finance.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, basically.
Welcome. On that very serious note, Subhanallah, la ilaha illallah. We are really running out of time. But I want to put this information across. Haj Yasin Bakaluwa was supposed to be with us on the panel, and Haj Mayambala, the one who reacted to a certain point to Dr. Abdul Hafiz. Inshallah, we are going to be having them as panelists in the next session. Inshallah. But what we believe, most of the people who have come here can be keynote speakers. They have something to say. Because today, it's a discussion with experts and people working in different domains. But the next time, inshallah, we come back, we are going to look out for that, and we are going to give, not every single person, I can't promise that, but at least we are going to get an organization to bring all the people that have not been brought on board today, inshallah, because a lot of people have a lot to say here, and I'm sure of that. On that note, allow me end here this discussion, and I'm going to take back my microphone to my co-MC. I admonish you all, first of all, to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in whatever you do. It comes first. And have absolute trust that whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us is going to work. And again, we are supposed to know that as Muslims, we are the shepherds of this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us lastly, وَلَقَدْ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. Allah made us a moderate ummah for us to be witnesses to the people. How are we going to be witnesses to the people if we are not offering something? In terms of leadership, technology, invention, let's come together, discuss all this, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put barakah in that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the benefit of that. Bin Ya'ala Musa Harun moderating this. Brother Sheikh Ali Kachope, the diplomat himself, Sheikh Nasif Chizito, and Sister Hajara. Thank you so much for listening. Every single person who has attended and everyone who is watching online, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Welcome salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much.
Wegatte ku Muslim Channel ne Muslim Terminal application genda bugenzi mu simu yo ku Google Play Store oba ku Apple Store o downloadinge otebenkere mu dini yo nga buli kye weetaaga kiri mu kifo kimu.
Assalamu alaikum. Now on platforms and everywhere.